You are listening to Mindset and Metabolism Mastery, Episode 12. If you feel like your metabolism is slow AF, well, I've got 4 steps for you to heal it. Let's go. Welcome to Mindset and Metabolism Mastery, a show for women who are tired of feeling hopeless, defeated, and frustrated with their bodies and want to have more energy to show up every day as the best version of themselves. I'm holistic nutrition consultant Shannon Hagel, and I can help you reprogram your brain to create bulletproof consistency with ease and address your personal hormonal imbalances that are leading to weight gain. Life can feel a whole lot better with a body you love, delicious food, and a little wine. And I'm here to help you get there. Ready to lose weight and feel amazing in your body? Let's dive in. Welcome, friends. Do you get the sense that your metabolism has slowed down? Or maybe even shut down completely? Maybe it feels increasingly difficult to drop the extra post-holiday weight. You used to be able to get away with a couple extra cookies and glasses of wine by just buckling down for a week and eating a couple more vegetables. Or maybe you haven't even changed a thing in your diet and exercise routine, but what used to work is no longer doing the job anymore. Well, you are not crazy. Today, I'm going to talk about 2 major reasons why your metabolism might be a total dumpster fire and what you can actually do about it. One of these things you've probably heard, but maybe continue to ignore because you don't know how to actually deal with it. And the other you may have never even considered. So first, let's get clear on what it means to have a slow metabolism. Most people simplify metabolism down to how well your body loses weight. And while that is a part of it, that is such a downplay of what your metabolism's role actually is. Your metabolism is not a one-dimensional character in a rom-com. Your metabolism has a complex role. It is all of the biochemical processes that occur in your body to sustain life. It's kind of important. It is literally how your body utilizes fuel for every movement and process in the body. It's not just about gaining or losing weight, but about walking, talking, thinking, breathing. It's about how efficiently your body breaks down the food you eat into the nutrients needed to carry on these complex processes in your body, like detoxification, digestion, hormonal balance. It's how the body repairs, rebuilds, and creates cell growth. Metabolism is a web of these intricate processes. So why is that valuable to know? Especially when most of you probably came here really just to figure out how to give your fat burning that little extra boost. Because when your metabolism is slow AF, that means you aren't just going to struggle with weight because your body is not utilizing the food that you're eating, but it will most certainly feel like garbage. You will be more sluggish, tired. You may start to see hair loss, brain fog. It's hard to concentrate. You're moody. You might find yourself never in the mood for sexy time. You have dry skin. Because if you have a slow functioning metabolism, all of the processes in your body are also slowing down with it. So not only are you gaining weight, but you're bitchy, hard up, and cranky. A real delight. Good times, right? Now, because the metabolism is not that one-dimensional rom-com character, but rather a multi-dimensional complex character from a Scorsese film, there are many ways that it can be impacted. One of the most common ways, and probably something you've already heard before, is simply not eating enough, right? Living in a calorie deficit for too long. Now, this can be a total bummer to hear because the messaging that you constantly get is to eat less and exercise more. But it's freaking hard, right? And to go through all of that pain, white-knuckling it through your hunger cues, just to find out that now you've messed up your metabolism in the process is a real kick in the crotch. So when we talk about eating in a calorie deficit, it means that you're eating fewer calories than your body needs to maintain its current weight. Your body uses these calories as energy to fuel everything it does, from thinking to moving. But let's see what happens in your body during a calorie deficit. First, your body will try to conserve energy. Your body notices that it's getting less food, its energy source, so it adapts. It starts using its stored energy, like fats, stored fat, and muscles, to keep functioning. If this calorie deficit continues, your body begins to think food is scarce. So to prepare for this scarcity, your body slows down the rate in which it burns calories. It slows down your metabolism. This is like your body switching into the low power mode on your computer to conserve energy. So now it doesn't even need the same amount of calories to do the job, which means it's going to stop burning fat. Now, second, because your body is using not just fat, but also muscle for fuel, you start to experience muscle loss. Muscles are important because they burn more calories than fat, even when you're at rest. So losing muscle means your body burns fewer calories overall. This further slows down your metabolism because your body now needs fewer calories to maintain itself. Now, as women, we already start to lose muscle mass at a faster and faster rate after the age of 30. So this is a double whammy to those pipes. Now, the third thing that's happening, being in a calorie deficit for long periods of time, is going to cause hormonal adjustments. In response to fewer calories, the balance of hormones in your body begins to change. For instance, your levels of leptin. This is a hormone that makes you feel full, satiated, and also impacts the efficiency in which your metabolism functions. Your levels of leptin can start to decrease, which means you don't feel full. And when our leptin decreases, our ghrelin, which is a hormone that makes you feel hungry, can increase. So not only are these hormonal changes making your metabolism slower, they also physically make it super difficult to stay in that calorie deficit because your body knows this is not a good place for you to be. So it sends out hormonal signals for more appetite, driving you for more food. Your body becomes more efficient at using the fewer calories it gets, further reducing your metabolic rate. So when you're in a calorie deficit for a long time, your body starts to work more efficiently with fewer calories. It's a survival mechanism, slowing down your metabolism in order to preserve the energy for those essential functions like, keeping your heart pumping or your lungs breathing, some pretty important stuff. This is why extreme or prolonged calorie restriction can actually make it harder to lose weight. And then, of course, causes you to gain even more weight than you'd lost when you start eating again, because now, even though you are back to eating the same way you did before the calorie restriction, you are now doing it on a depressed metabolism. This seems to cause a real fear for women around food, right? We're terrified to increase the amount we're eating because now we have these depressed metabolisms that just can't handle it. So the more you do this and the longer you do this, the more you are going to slow that metabolism down over time. Now, second, and I think the lesser known cause of a slow metabolism that I really want to zero in on today is chronic low-grade inflammation. If your body was New York City, you've got traffic and heavily used subway systems, hordes of people running around, offices and businesses running on overdrive. There's so much going on in the city. There's so much energy moving in and out and around the city. Your body is the same as New York City. You've got thousands of processes and billions of biochemical reactions happening in your body every second. Not just burning and storing fat, but breaking down food into nutrients to use for energy, shuttling these nutrients to the cells that need them, removing the waste products that occur from these biochemical processes and moving them out of the body is essential. It's a lot. So if your body is New York City, inflammation is like the emergency crew blocking off traffic. Inflammation is not a bad thing in the body. It is how the body protects itself from injury, illness, and infection. But even though its purpose is to help, it doesn't do so without some drawbacks. When the emergency crew is blocking off traffic, guess what? It slows everything down. Not just at the emergency site, but now that traffic is being redirected, right? Gumming up the other roads too. Emergency crews also use a ton of energy, right? So when inflammation is flared up, it is pulling resources and an energy away from normal metabolic processes, including burning calories. Instead of burning those calories, your body is focused on dealing with the inflammation. Now, the occasional emergency crew in a big city like New York is not going to be a big deal in the grand scheme of things. But imagine if every other road is blocked off by an emergency crew. That's what's happening when you have chronic, low-grade inflammation. Inflammation is not just a swollen knee because you twisted it the wrong way trying to show off to your 10-year-old all your mad soccer skills. This chronic, low-grade inflammation can be happening underneath the surface constantly. It's the inflammation you can't necessarily see. You end up with chronic, low-grade inflammation from things like a poor diet or even a restrictive diet. right? The body's not getting the nutrients it needs. Dehydration, stress, because cortisol is catabolic, which means it breaks things down. Over-exercise, right? When we exercise, we're breaking down the muscles, we're breaking down the tissues, and they need to rebuild. Do that too much, and the body can't rebuild. Toxin exposure is a big one. From pollution, from medications that you're taking, from your shampoo. So on top of causing a major traffic jam in your metabolic function, inflammation also disrupts hormones. Your hormones are the communication pathway of the body. They send messages to tell the cells what tasks to perform. Inflammation turns your 5G Wi-Fi connection into dial-up. And if you don't know what dial-up is, then you are not old enough to be needing this podcast. So now the messages from your hormones to tell your metabolism what it should be doing has slowed to a snail's pace. It's really hard to get these things done efficiently and effectively when you're waiting around forever from the thumbs up from dispatch. Inflammation also impacts gut function. I like to think of gut function as the waste management of a city. If you have a healthy gut, it's like having a really organized and effective waste management service. Your recycling, your compost, the waste is picked up on time and cleaned up. You don't even really notice that it's working because it's working so well that you don't even see it happening. Oh, but when the gut is inflamed, when there is gut dysfunction, it's like the waste management services went on strike. You think New York has had a couple of sanitation worker strikes in its time, and that shit piles up quickly. Literally mountains of garbage blocking the sideways. And finally, inflammation also leads to more muscle loss. The muscles are like subway cars. The more subway cars the city has, the more energy it uses to get people to where they need to go. The more lean muscle you have, the more energy those muscles use even at rest. So when inflammation comes in and starts taking out subway cars, all of a sudden, you aren't using the same amount of energy as you once were. In your body's case, what it can't use, it stores, right? So goodbye metabolism. So that's a lot, right? It's a lot. Your metabolism might have been on a constant assault for years, whether it's from prolonged calorie restriction or from inflammation, or most likely both. So what can you do about this? I know when talking about these complex processes and the many, many things that impact them, it can start to feel really confusing and overwhelming, right? Our brain just goes, too much work, screw it. Maybe it will just sort itself out. So I want to keep the what to do about it portion of this episode really, really simple. Because as complex as your body is, it's usually the simplest shifts that have the most impact. So first and foremost, you've got to eat more. I know you might have a real fear of increasing your food consumption if you're already putting on weight. So here is the key. Don't just eat more of anything. That's not what I'm suggesting. Eat more nutrient-dense food. Real, whole food. The closer the food is to the way it shows up in nature, the better. The dense amount of nutrients you will get from real, whole food will feed and fuel your metabolism so it can build back up. So, step 1, eat more. Also, lift more. Just being alive for over 30 years means you are starting to lose muscle more and more easily. Then add on top of this all the factors like stress, inflammation, calorie restriction that break down your muscles even faster. You want to focus on building that muscle continuously. Now, I'm not talking about Olympic lifting. Remember, we don't want to add more stress and inflammation to the body when it's already chronically inflamed. But resistance training 3 times a week, 20 minutes at a time, is a great place to start. So step 2, lift more. Step 3, sleep more. Your body repairs, rebuilds, renews, and restores itself in your sleep. So prioritizing rest is essential for repairing a slow metabolism. Now, I know that can be very frustrating to hear if you struggle with sleep, whether it's falling asleep or staying asleep. So focus more on the things that you can control, right? Shutting off screens well before bedtime so your body can actually build those sleepy hormones that it needs to get a good rest. Dimming the lights in your house, turning down the temperature in your bedroom. Step 3, sleep more. And the last one, but probably the most important, calm more. Stress is catabolic, whether it's mental, emotional stress, like a frustrating interaction with a coworker, or obsessing about the dirty dishes that are in the sink, or they're the physical stressors like over-exercising, infections, or medications that aren't necessary. It's all stress, and it's going to cause inflammation and slow down that metabolic function. So get your calm on whenever you can. How can you hold better boundaries? How can you be the most chill version of yourself today? Maybe even just for the next hour. How can you let go of the things that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things? How can you infuse your day with more peace, calm, and joy? So step 4, calm more. The nemesis of a strong, healthy, functioning metabolism is undereating and inflammation. When your body can't access the energy it needs to create all these biochemical reactions optimally, it will adapt to the lower levels of calories, utilizing less and less. Inflammation is going to divert those resources away from your metabolism, disrupt communication, slow down processes, and decrease the energy available to it. So boosting metabolism isn't about some special super herb or supplement. It is the simple things that mean everything to your body. If you want to strengthen your metabolism, 4 steps: eat more, lift more, sleep more, and calm more. I will see you in next week's episode. You have a beautiful rest of your day. If you enjoyed today's show and don't want to worry about missing an episode, you can follow the show wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you could share the podcast with others who you think might benefit from it, and leave a rating and review to let me know what you think. It doesn't have to be a 5-star rating, although I sure hope that you love the show. I want your honest feedback so I can create an awesome podcast that provides tons of value. Visit www.thrivefromtheinside.com/podcast launch for step-by-step instructions on how to follow, rate, and review. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Mindset and Metabolism Mastery. If you want to learn more about balancing your hormones, repairing your metabolism, and losing weight with empowerment and ease, visit www.thrivefromtheinside.com. I'll see you next time.